Okay, I'm going to show you the top 3 splits that I've found for lifting in the gym, okay? So we got PPSL, full body, and bro split, right? Starting off, I've used all 3 of these splits. They all work magnificently. If you want to get gains, follow these. You will get gains, I promise, as long as you're doing the proper sets and you're doing it the right way. If you need help and you need guidance with that, click the link down below and I'll coach you personally through all these with my online coaching program, okay? So push, pull, shoulders, legs, right? So starting out, I didn't like push-pull legs. Why? Because it's hard to get chest, tri, and shoulders in, and I found that you're pretty fatigued trying to get all of the push in at once, and you end up sacrificing volume because whatever you do third, you're not hitting as hard. So if you just do chest and tri and then make shoulders a separate day, works better. So chest and tri, back and bi, shoulders and abs, and then legs. So for this one, it's going to be a push day, a pull day, a shoulder and ab day, and a leg day. And notice how in all these splits, right, there's no set rest day. There's no days of the week. There's none of that. Why? Because I never really gave a shit about putting in a rest day. People are like, oh, rest and recovery. Well, I just ate really well, and I made sure I sleep well. And in reality, if you number your split, if you miss a split, you can just pick back up. For this one, it doesn't matter really what you do, but for the push-pull and the bro split, or any split that's not, you do the same thing every single day like this one, right, you can just pick up. So if I go chest or push, pull, rest day, I can just pick up his shoulders, legs, and we're good, right? And if you follow the set volume weekly chart, if you have 7 days to get these 4 days in, you can throw in 3 rest days, or if you're planning on hitting it twice, right, if you take 3 rest days, you can still get a session each twice in a 7-day period, if that makes sense. So like if you hit legs, you have 6 days to hit legs again, if that makes sense. So if I hit chest, and I'm trying to get a certain number of sets in per week, right, and I get 10 sets of chest here, but I want 15 sets on the week. If I go right chest, 1, 2, 3. If I didn't take a rest day, it would be 4, right? But if I go chest, 1, 2, 3, rest, 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 right? Then I miss that week. But if I go chest, 1, 2, 3, rest, rest, 4, okay, I get 2 chest days in the 7-day period. And the same applies for the bro split because they're both 4-day splits. So the goal should be getting a certain amount of sets in per muscle group per week. And if you need that set volume chart, click the link in the bio, hit me up. I will put this into your program for you, okay? But with this, so it's going to be chest, tri, back and bi, shoulders and abs, and legs. There is no accessory work. It's just you do all the chest, right? Whatever your movements are, it doesn't really matter, but that's the split, okay? Now moving into full body, right, this was awesome because when I'm really in time crunches, I have to lock in and like get shit done, or I'm in class, whatever it is. Full body's nice because it takes away all the thinking. If you can get the right amount of sets set up per day, per week, it took me a lot of fucking around to actually get this, but once you get it, it works really, really well. So this full body, okay, the idea is you're going to hit all your muscles every day, okay? Now, if you think of set volume per week, there's a certain amount of set volume per muscle group that it can take in terms of loading on a weekly basis before it just gives out and you regress. So with this, the idea is, so let's say our chest day, right? I'm talking about that 7 days. If I want to hit 14 sets of chest in a week, okay, and I hit 7 on one, and then I do mine, and then hit another one, and I hit 7 more, cool, right? I got 14 sets. Now, if I'm doing this every day, right, and I go, and if I want to lift 5 days a week, okay, but I only do 3 sets of chest 5 days a week, I get 15 sets of chest in, lifting less than this guy. But the idea is that people have, if you do 3 sets a day, you have less sets daily, but more sets weekly with more intensity to each set and more energy to perform them at maximum capacity. So the idea is you get more sets with more intensity, more gains, more volume, but it doesn't regress you on that set chart the same way that doing 15 sets in one day would, because the 14, you know what I mean, after 5 you're just smoked, right? The weight drops, but the weight's not going to drop as heavily as much, but you're going to get more sets with higher weight, with higher intensity. So the idea is, if you have, right, more intensity, more sets, you're going to get more effort, and you're going to be more energized, and it's not going to be as fatiguing, right, in the long term, right? But with the full body, it's cool because you really can do the same thing every day. If you're someone who just like doesn't want to think about it, you want to be in and out. Now this is going to take longer, but you don't have to go to the gym as frequently, and you know what you're doing. With this, you're going to have to keep track of it. I got this day, right? But this, you can put more effort, and you can really get that crazy pump. This is cool because you can get a pump everywhere, every day. You can really interchange stuff. So like if your biceps are sore, you just don't do biceps that day. If you're trying, you just don't do them that day, because you're going to pick it up probably a day or two, right? So for this, I would say you could even realistically, if you did this 4 days a week, dude, you'd be straight. But I did it 7. And that's why I stopped doing this, because I like to go to the gym every day. So I have to do kind of a separated split, because I like going to the gym and just crushing a body part, because I like being sore. I like it. I like the gym, okay? Some people don't. So this is good if you don't like the gym. In and out, 45 an hour, cool, right? Now, depending on where you're at in your set volume chart, if you're trying to really push the limits of your sets and go crazy, I wouldn't recommend this, because if you're trying to get high amounts of sets, you're going to be at the gym for an hour and a half if you're doing this one. And I recommend a segregated split, or segmented split, if you're someone who's really, really trying to grow seriously. Now, if you're just someone that wants slow growth, or if you're not trying to get absolutely monstrous, I would do this, right? If you're in a cut, do this, because you're going to burn more calories per workout. You're not going to have to think as much. You can worry about your diet, and you're not in a state of like smash it, right? But this one, this is just the order I did it. I found that this is the best order. So this is not days of the week. You're not doing calves one day. This is not an 8-day split the way it might make it sound, okay? So don't think this is days. This is what you do every time you work out, because this full body, it's the same thing every time you work out. So this is the best order of exercises that I found for full body, right? So for full body, this is one day. This is just day. It's not any type of day, just full body. And if you do this, you do this like 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week, doesn't matter. And the idea, and this is the best order I found. So you start off with calves. Why? Because you get in the gym, you're like, oh, fuck. If it's like leg day, you get in the gym, you're like, oh, I got legs, right? So I always even start legs with calves or accessory work, right? Because it's like, okay, I can get in the gym, I can do calf raises. And while you're calf raising, you know what I mean? You'll stretch out a little bit, whatever. So I like to start off with calves by itself. You do some calves, you stretch in between, you know what I mean? You drink your pre-workout, whatever it is. It's a nice entrance to the gym, right? And then you go quad glute. Now, when I say quad glute, I do this because it's super easy to bang out quad glute with hack squat, leg press, back squat, Smith squat, whatever it is, some type of compound movement. Because, I mean, you can do like quad extensions and like glute kicks, right? But honestly, I just like to bang out the leg press because it works, right? Now, I superset the quads with abs. Why? Because I want to do abs, but I'm going to not superset like squat with barbell rows, because it's going to be super fatiguing. I'm going to be out of breath, and I'm going to take away from my lift with cardio, and I don't want to do that. Abs are low cardio, low effort, so I can hit some sit-ups, right, as a superset while my quads rest, and I'll be good, okay? Moving, because this is a superset. The ones with a dash are supersetted, okay? So hamstrings, now, after I'm done with this, I go to hamstrings. And I would superset hamstrings. I like the seated hamstring curl, okay? If you want to exercise, let's go to click the link in the bio, Hall of Fame exercise list. If you're in my program, you already have it. Okay, so hamstrings, lats. When you're going to do hamstrings, I like seated hamstring curl, and you superset that with lat, because hamstrings are not that fatiguing unless you're doing like barbell RDLs and you're smoking them. But when I do, seated hamstring curls, I'm not that fatigued. And the hamstring machine was like farther away from the lat. So I would do my hamstrings, walk over, do my lats. And I found that I wasn't too fatigued cardio-wise, and I was good. So now I go on like a 4 exercise solo. And what it means, there's no supersets, because these are all decently fatiguing, I found, okay? So rows are huge muscles. I mean, you're rowing. So I would do like dumbbell row, barbell row, cable row. I mean, you're going to be pretty tired. So I would do the row and then like I would like maybe walk around for a second and then I would do it as by itself. Okay. And then I would move on to traps. Now, traps might not be fatiguing for you, but if you're really doing heavy, a lot of times you have to go really heavy for traps. And so I would do like barbells or a Smith machine, and I would like really crush it. So I would end up getting pretty fatigued for traps because those are a weak point for me. So I have to crush them and I end up being pretty fatigued. So I do it by itself. So I want to focus. Okay. Now mid delt and chest. These are two muscle groups we really, really want to grow because at least for me as a guy, like boom, like you want delts, you want chest. That's a muscle you want to look good in, so you really want to focus on that. I give it by itself because I always want to go nuts. I don't want any distractions from that. Now, if you're a girl, right, you know your ass is going to go crazy on the quad glutes, so you might even just separate those because you want the butt popping, so you're going to do that, okay? Now, mid-delt, chest. Now, for mid-delt, I do lat raises, chest, whatever I'm feeling that day. And the thing about these, okay, so like you might be like, do I have to do the same movement every day? You don't have to do the same movement every day. I did because I found, like I said, if you, like my philosophy is if you have the best exercise, like if you're like, oh, what's the best exercise, right, for this, there's going to be a day where you find the best exercise, right? You find the exercise with the most activation, okay? So if you find the best exercise, the only thing, and the best exercise with best technique, well, then you don't really ever have to move, right? Because if it's the best exercise to get the most activation for your muscles, why would you ever go to why would you go to a beta exercise? Like, why would you go to a worse exercise? So for me, I just found exercises that I work best, and it's why I created Hall of Fame exercise list that you can get the link in the bio for, because I found my best exercises that get the best activation, the least amount of, cleanup, prep, right, that most gyms will have. So I made a list so your ass can get it perfect, all right? So mid-delt, chest too. A lot of times people, you can fly or you can press. It really doesn't matter to me. Like if you're really a stickler, you can do like 1 day push, 1 day fly, whatever. I just said chest because at the end of the day, I would just find like a movement that worked for me, like one of those machines that does it for me, and I found that it worked good for me. But and then I would finish with just arms, right? So for me, this is like for at least a guy, like the optimum. I mean, this is trial and error, the best like rotation that I've found for. The best rotation I found for a gym. Like if you can do this, you're going to have no breaks. You're going to have to break. You're going to be able to go back and forth and kill it. So, yeah. So, you can just go and kill it, end it with buys and tries. Life hack, right? If you do buys and tries supersetted, now, okay, I'm going to get sciencey on you, but it's agonist, antagonist with the muscles because it's like the prime mover and then the muscle that opposes it. If this is the prime mover, this is the opposer, right? So if you really crush the bicep, when you do the tricep, after you get like a good set of both, it'll begin to like bounce off each other and you'll begin to get like a super pump in your arms if you superset an agonist, antagonist. Like if you superset quad and ham or push and pull. That's why people do this. Because if you're training for hypertrophy and you do a push-pull with an agonist, antagonist, you get a crazy pump and you get more jacked. So that's the logic behind that. It's gym bro logic. So for that's the full body split. I like the full body split. It's a good split. Okay, moving forward for the bro split. This is the split for me. This is after like 8 years of lifting. Push, right? Great. There's certain times I'll do this. Low key note, right? On the push, pull, shoulders, legs, the reason I stopped this is because I went so nuts crazy on chest try that by the time it came to shoulders, my shoulder was absolutely shredded. And I would take away from any ability to press. So that's why I stopped doing that. And that's why I moved to this when I went back to a 4-day split. Okay, so stay with me. Bro split. Now, I call it bro split. Why? Because a traditional bro split is like a 7-day where you really do as little muscle groups as possible, but go like crazy as shit on those muscles. So like the idea is in a traditional 7-day bro split, if you look at the weekly set volume of muscle groups, you max out the set volume in MAV, maximum adaptable volume in that 7-day period with that muscle group. So if your MAV is 15 sets of chest, you hit 15 sets of chest on Monday because then you have 7 days to recover, right? Problem with the traditional bro split is nobody understands the set volume requirements of their muscles based on their skill set and based on the muscle's ability to recover effectively, okay? So that's why people mess up in the bro split, because they give their muscles way too much time to recover. If you aren't killing it in the gym on Monday and you give yourself 7 days, your ass, because that's assuming you never miss, right? And we're not perfect. Like, you're assuming you'll never miss. That's why I don't like the 7-day split, and that's why I like these the best, because they're flexible and they're numbered. If you have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday split, dude, if you miss Monday, you have 14-day rest for chest. You don't need 14 days rest. Nobody needs 14 days rest unless you tear your muscle. Then you need 6 months rest. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to do a bro split, I would say do it no more than 4 days. Because if you do more than 4 days split, yes, it can work if you're a disciplined individual and you have a set routine and you don't stray away from the program, but most people don't give a shit enough to actually do that. So I would say do something that makes it as easy as possible to crush your goals. If I was somebody who needed to make it as easy as possible for me to hit the gym, and I can only hit the gym 3 days a week, I would do this, because I could hit the gym an hour and a half, 3 days a week, boom, done. Okay? But everyone doesn't like that. Some people like the gym. I like the gym, so I like these two because I can go nuts. But if I didn't like the gym, I would go full body. And if you're someone that doesn't like the gym, you like the full body, but you're like, Riley, what do I do? Well, I'll tell you what you do. You go to the link in my bio and you fill out the VIP coaching form and you sign up, and I'm going to reach out to you and we're going to work together, and I'm going to make you a program just like this. I'm going to make it for you. I'm going to do your nutrition. I'm going to do your recovery. I'm going to check in with you. I'm going to make sure you get to your goals. We're going to track it. We're going to get it, and you're going to be awesome. Okay, so moving forward, okay, bro split. Now, I like this split I do right now, okay? So we start off chest and shoulders. Now, you might say, oh, I don't like doing chest because then my shoulders are worn out. Okay, you don't have to do chest, then shoulders. You can do shoulders, then chest. You can switch it up every time you do it. That's what I do. So I can do chest one day, and then next time it comes up, 4 days later, I will do shoulders. Now, pay attention to this down here. I'll get to it, okay? Chest, shoulders. Boom. Back only. So now, most people struggle with back because they try to work it in with biceps. And the reality is your back gets so jacked up and you take so much away from your back that your biceps are fatigued and you don't get to isolate the bicep right. And that's why I made a change when I remade my split, okay? So back only. Now, with back only, you're not going to run into this problem with the full body split, but a lot of times with back, when we get to a lot of pulls and we get to a lot of rows, our forearms give out. And we don't want our forearms to be the limiting factor on our back, because our forearms can't take as much volume as our back can because the back's a bigger muscle. So if you're somebody whose forearms always give out on lat pull downs or rows, get straps or get hooks, because it will take away the limiting factor of your forearm, the synergist of your back, and you won't have that problem anymore, okay? So moving into back only. So that even means we aren't doing buys. We're not doing back and buys. We are doing rows, and we are doing shrugs, and we are doing lats. So it's lats, this. I used to isolate lower back, but my lower back is big. I can grow my lower back like crazy. It's always jacked. I always have the Christmas tree, so I never have to worry about that. I stopped doing it, realistically. And because I did it, and I was getting spasms and shit. No. No, when I played football, yeah, I did it by proxy, but if you're crushing enough on the rows and certain like that, you're not going to have to do lower back so much. I don't isolate lower back. I just try to work in it with other things. So back only, okay? Moving in. Arms. I like this day. I like arm day because I'm a guy. If you're a girl, you might want to focus on the leg day. You might not even want arm day because you think you're going to get too bulky. So you might even be able to throw out arms because you think you're going to be too jacked if you're a girl. So you might want to do chest, shoulders, back only, legs. Screw the arms, okay? Now, with arms, like I talked about, agonist, antagonist. The way my arms are set up, right? I do set here, and I do about 10, 12 sets, biceps and triceps. And the goal is I'll get 24 sets in by the time that rolls around next time. Now you might be saying, Riley, what if your triceps are still sore come chest day? Wah, wah. I don't care. I really just like the gym. So if you gotta vary your volume based on your ability to recover. Now, if you're somebody that's I don't like to do that, pick the same volume. When you get to an area of your muscle groups that get sore, come another day where that muscle affects your ability to hit the other muscle, bro, throw in the rest day, right? Because at the end of the day, if we're 4-day split, we have 3 days to rest realistically before we are required by the set volume expectations to hit another day, okay? So it gives you a little bit more flexibility if you don't have, right, a 7-day split. Now, let me say this. The less the number of the days of your split, the more flexible you can be, okay? Because like this is a 1-day split. This is 1 day, right? Not saying it's 1 day a week, but it's one workout. So you can be a lot more flexible knowing that you can just hit this workout 3 days a week and you're hitting all your muscle groups. Now you're going to have to vary the set volume for each exercise to then hit that muscle group's weekly set volume, but you can be more flexible. So if you have a 7-day split and you have to hit every day, your ass needs to follow the program way more strictly. I'm pretty disciplined. So I'm like 75%, right? I'm 75% of a 7-day split, right? 4 out of 7, I'll give it 75, right? Because I'm pretty disciplined. I'm going to get to the gym, I know. If I was someone who literally, like, I'm working 12 hours a day, and I would do this 3 days a week, Saturday and Sunday, throw it in Wednesday, we're good, okay? But I'm not. So, with this one. Now, with other ones, you always do your little muscles, like, with the group. With this split, I did it different. So for me, I'm always like, I don't like killing my calves. I don't like killing my traps. I don't like crushing my abs because my abs are sort of affects my other movements. Why? I took the principles from full body and applied it to the segmented split, okay? So I took abs, traps, and calves, all of our little muscles, right? And I do like 2 or 3 sets of abs, traps, and calves. Like 2 sets, 2 sets, 2 sets, and I just do them every day. That's why they're not plugged in. So I do my days, and I'll usually superset 2, 2, 2, right? Like if I have rows, I'll superset it with abs. If I have rows, or if I have a quad, I'll superset it with calves. Whatever it is now, don't get me wrong, I will still make sure I'm hitting my certain volume. So my calves, abs, and traps have a high resistance to growth, okay? Because they have the most set volume in order to grow. Now, with that being said, if they're natural for you, they have the least volume required to maintain. But mine are not genetically big. So what do I do? Now, if it's back and if it's legs, I'm still going to do traps and calves as part of the program, but I'm just going to do a little bit more than 2 sets on those days. With abs, I'm just going to do abs every day because my abs look good, and realistically, most people's abs look good. Their body fat is just too high for them to see them, so that's not going to be my problem, right? So that's my 3 splits that I have found to just completely love. And if you have any questions about these splits, or you would like this split taken, any of these splits taken, had the set volume applied to your muscles, as well as nutrition, as well as recovery, all the jazz you could possibly fathom in fitness, let me train you. Let me coach you. Click the link in the bio. I'll coach you. I hope you had an enjoyable and valuable experience here, because that is my goal, to provide fitness value and help people build their bodies, okay? Have a good one.